Okay, so I had a conversation with my uncle, and he was explaining to me that when he was at my cousin's basketball game, he was irate, was yelling at the ref and the coach, and actually got thrown out, which is crazy to me. But it made me think about uh, sort of parent behavior and a potential solution to try and manage, not a solution, but a few strategies to try and manage parent behavior on the sidelines. So, number one, perhaps if clubs would explain to parents the truth about what they're buying. So it's not you're buying a path to pro or you're buying the best developmental model ever, or you're buying this or that. If you explain to parents that what they're buying is a particular type of experience that will act as a proxy to real life, okay? And that experience involves winning, losing. It involves sometimes being cheated. It involves bruises. It involves sometimes, dirty plays. It involves good referees, good weather, bad weather, good fields, bad fields. All of those components go into creating an experience that will hopefully, ultimately, give that child a better framework for managing uncertainty and a better framework for managing people, teams, being a leader, being a follower, responding and bouncing back from setbacks, managing success. So that will act as a proxy for what they will need to, what they'll experience later on as they grow up. And I think the other side of that coin is I think you have to take teams, right? So just an idea, right? So what if a referee would bring both teams in before a game and say, team one and team two, this competition is not about you guys hating each other or feeding off of parent sort of emotions and sort of creating a frenzy. This competition is about you guys training as hard as you can so that individually and collectively you are as good and as sharp as you can be so that you can come to this environment where you're going to compete against another team that's doing the exact same thing. And actually, you want team one, you want team two to be as good as they possibly can be. Because when you meet in this competitive environment, that's where the ultimate uncertainty happens. That's where there's no sort of way to manage to manage the training environment or the developmental environment. You have to handle it, and you have to either respond or not respond. And you push yourself to the limit so that you know where you need to make adjustments. So it's a complete gut check. There's no one to hold your hand. You either perform or you don't. And for me, this is the most valuable sort of self-learning vehicle there is. Competition. When two competitors are at the top of their game and they come in to meet and see who's best. And that's where you learn about yourself and you'll learn about your team and you learn what you have in the tank. But and to me, this is what a good referee would do, or a good coach, or a good club. I think that's what good clubs sort of how they manage kids and sort of focus their training and developmental objectives. But the challenge, is that parents don't want their kids to struggle and they don't want them to suffer, and which is just strange to me. They don't want them to go through emotional roller coasters and feeling cheated and have to sort of battle through that, which is interesting because, and it happens even in school. So, I don't know. I think we have a major problem, a major societal problem that has creeped its way into youth sports. Referees are quitting because they're abused. There's a really nice. A friend of mine sent me an awesome image, and it said, there was parent one, and he was talking to parent two, and parent one said, which kid is yours? I'm going to harass him. And parent two was like, why would you harass my kid? And parent one said, because you're harassing mine. Parent two said, well, who's your kid? Parent one said, it's the ref. So that's what we're dealing with, and I think some of the things I mentioned, they're not like ultimate solutions, but they're just sort of food for thought in the process of trying to manage the competitive environment so kids don't quit. That's my biggest concern, is that kids are starting to quit youth soccer and I mean probably other sports as well. So just some food for thought.